Welcome, everyone. I'm Chari Elam, and I cannot wait to introduce you to my guest this month. I suspect a few of you recognize him, Steve Jimenez with Hives For Heroes. Hi, Steve.
Hey, how's it
Welcome.
going? How are
It's
you
going
doing?
great. It's going great.
Really good to
It's
see you.
taken us a few minutes to get together because you're a busy guy.
Yeah, we got a lot of things going on. Busy bees out here.
Yeah, you are. So I know that a bunch of people recognize you because your face has become iconic with Hives For Heroes because that's your baby, right? Tell
It's our
us.
baby, but we definitely make sure that those veterans are being seen and heard. Stories are shared, and that's really what our organization is about. Hives for Heroes is about connecting veterans to people. So really connecting people to people. And getting us outside of ourselves and becoming a part of the community in such amazing ways. So hopefully the faces keep changing.
Well, I think that they do. Heard such wonderful success stories of what you're doing for that. So tell us real quick, how did you end up doing that? Obviously you served. Tell us what branch you served and about that.
Yeah, so I was in the Marine Corps from 2006 to 11, deployed pretty much the 8 months in 2010, and returned, got out, then went to reserve duty while I was taking a full-time job at a large Fortune 50 company. So, everything seemed really, really good on the surface level, but internally I was not doing good. And we talk about that a lot of mental health, emotional health, spiritual health. The physical wounds are relatively easy to see sometimes, but some of the other wounds are not. So trauma has affected all of us in all of our communities. It doesn't matter veteran or not. And it's really important to understand that. And that's why when I found bees, I had a friend reach out and she was worried about me and she wanted me to go to an event that I did not want to go to. Because what kind of person that's sitting on the couch and doesn't want to be around anybody wants to go play with bees?
Right.
And before you know it, suiting up and getting involved with the bees completely changed my perspective of life.
Wow. That's incredible. And I can say as just me from where I'm from, that I feel that same way. Bees have such I almost want to say a medicinal effect. They're just so calming and soothing, and we connect with them as we're just engrossed in their world. So you took that moment and it helping you, and you shared it as in Hives For Heroes with other veterans.
We definitely shared it. We have no idea where this was going. The organization, beekeeping is very isolated sometimes, geographically related. Counties and things of that nature. So we had no idea where this is going. We thought, we'll be in Houston. There's a handful of us. We'll make our own apiaries. And if other people are interested, let's just kind of keep going to maybe San Antonio or Austin, kind of traditional way of moving bees, right? Because we've kind of all done that at this point. But miraculously, literally somebody from Nevada reached out and said, hey, can we do Hives For Heroes here? And bees are cost prohibitive. It's not, you can't just put bees somewhere and be like, okay, you got it. There's the bee side, then there's the veteran side, then there's the training, the education, the ongoing maintenance. So this was an undertaking that we didn't know, because this was a course, first, second year in beekeeping.
Wow.
And like every beekeeper, I started off doing removals, which was oh so bright. And that's how we started funding the organization, was by a handful of guys doing removals and getting outside of ourselves and serving others in the community by doing community service. And then as that continued to grow, we were able to, put some dollars here and put some dollars here, and then, hey, let's connect you with somebody. So that's how the network started, was really requesting, asking those in areas that we knew veterans were located. We would call mentors, or what we thought were mentors, whether they were small business owners or they were involved in university systems, and we'd ask if they would mentor this one person. And now we're over 3,000 throughout the United States, and it just keeps growing because people care about people.
They truly do, and our veterans. Let's just say that we would not be here. And I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of my family that have served. And you're such an incredible asset to them, the world of veterans in general, and our industry, which I'm going to use as a segue. Our industry. I love beekeeping, and I think that you've kind of gotten stung by that bug as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So let's talk about your bees. So people want to, and I've kind of gotten known for this, of digging a little deeper, because we see you on the surface. I want to see who Steve is, the beekeeper. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Steve, the beekeeper, who is that?
Steve, the beekeeper, is a person that knows that he needs to learn a lot. And I kind of mentioned earlier that we started this organization without knowing where it was going, of course, but we started by serving others. And the way we were doing that was by removals. So we'd go to whether they were homes or businesses and things of that nature, and we would be doing the handiwork, right? Which takes a whole nother skill set. And luckily I had redone a lot of houses in my previous days. And so we were going through and removing these walls and picking up these bees and trying to figure out how to keep them alive. But we were doing it with basically 3 to 4 new beekeepers. So we were collectively learning, working together, but it didn't really pan out. I can tell you on a very emotional level that the reason why we ask our beekeepers not to get bees their first year as newbies is because there's a huge responsibility to that. So there's a lack of knowledge. There's definitely not a lack of energy or desire, but it's the knowledge, the resources, the mentorship that you might have available. So we had brought them into the yard. Of course, they absconded, and here's this grown Marine crying in the backyard because I can't even do this. So it was kind of a low point until I called somebody who I considered a mentor, and he's like, Steve, you are doing like the hardest thing that you can do in your first year. Don't do that. And 1, don't be hard on yourself. And 2, don't do that. Let's come out and start like showing you how to do it. This person had a removal company at one time as well. And so as we continued to grow that, well, now I started learning. Why? I had a mentor, right? I had somebody that was there for me, somebody that I can ask questions to, somebody that I can take pictures with, and share information. But we would go again to his apiary, and he would show me. And I had to drive 45 minutes to go to his house, but it was so worth it, because every time you pick up a frame from a different hive, it looks different, it feels different, but you start learning the process. And I love processes, which is what we do. And so that turns into kind of getting a little bit over our shoes, which Blake knows very well, because now rolling into a 3rd year, we hit 100 hives, on a large ranch, and we go, we can do this. And boy, that was fun. Blake got a lot of calls. We had a great time, and there were some ups and downs, big time. I would not suggest that. I wouldn't suggest that route for anybody. So let's consider us like the people that like walk out in front of the mines. Kevin is, we'll consider ourselves all Kevin at this point.
Yep.
And we were trying to like map out where we were going with this, and a lot of lessons learned. And those are the things that we can communicate to the veterans. So we can communicate in the Facebook group page. We communicate in our newsletters is lessons learned. And you can still do whatever it is that you need to do. But we're just going to encourage you not to get bees your first year. Stay with that mentor, be with that mentor that first year, and learn as much as you possibly can. In that 2nd year, they're going to gift you a swarm or a split or maybe a full hive, who knows, depending on your mentor and your relationships. And then you're going to grow that hive. So you're going to grow not only the hive, but in that time, you're growing yourself because you're around a lot of good people. And then in that 3rd year, we ask you to come back and be a mentor and pay it forward from what you experienced. And just like we tell our mentors all the time, train people as you wish you would have been trained.
Right. What a great platform. I mean, we should all start that way, right? But I can tell you lesson and hard way go together. And
they do. They very much do. The core values of our organization are connection, purpose, relationships, and service. Right. So everything ties into that. And of course, y'all know the tagline, save bees, save vets. And it's important that we always stay in that lane. Another thing that we tell our organization is do everything legally, morally, and ethically correct. because these are important characteristics that we have. And as we spread throughout the United States, sometimes it gets a little loose because there's guidelines. But as we continue to grow, we are building certifications this year. So a Hives for Heroes certification, a Hives for Heroes certification for corporates. We are also doing, we're working with now, and this is a great place to announce it actually. We are working with the Master Beekeeping programs. We just got Florida come on board, which we will be reimbursing veterans that go through the Master Beekeeping programs at every level.
Fantastic. And you know, that is such a great learning opportunity for everyone to get in that Master Beekeeper program, because it spaces it out over a series of years and kind of graduates you into it, which is exactly what your methodology is doing. So
That's
super
correct.
great news. Well, thanks for sharing that with us first.
And you do get both sides, right? You get the practicality, right? You get the practicality in the apiaries with your mentor. And maybe now the mentors start learning more too, that haven't had the opportunity maybe to be in the education side. And we're helping each other. We're supporting each other, all growing collectively, which is exactly what a hive does. So we treat the organization and we just learn lessons from the hive.
So cool. What a complete circle. Very good. Just very good. You really have learned a lot and implemented it into your business model. So with the bees, so the 100 hives, where are those 100 hives? Are they together? Are they separated?
Blue Ranch. Yeah, Blue Ranch. They're in, they're on a large acre property out there. I highly encourage somebody to look up Blue Ranch. They are starting a farm to fridge service. Wonderful people. So if you're interested in that, that's awesome. And that's where we started on that piece.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, and so in your daily life, are you single-handedly doing some of those hives, or are you?
Oh, I thought you
are
meant
you
running the
delving out?
organization. Like, oh no.
No, it's a lot of hives.
It's a huge team effort. I think the amount of people that we have in the organization, like we mentioned before, is over 3,000. The people that are working on this daily as volunteers are only 4. And these 4 people are amazing. So you have Charles, who's a retired Army colonel, who wakes up in the morning and says, I get to do something good today. He literally did that on our the History Channel interview, where I was like, wow, what an amazing like perspective, right?
Yes.
And he is our connections director for the entire nation. And what he does is connect people geographically. So 1 hive, 1 newbie, 1 mentor, and we try to get them within 30 miles of each other so that they can see each other on a regular basis, but then make their own schedules, because we don't want to micromanage anybody. So as these people are coming in and applying at hivesforheroes.com, they fill out the form, and then we're going in there every day, and Charles is matching people as they come into the organization. And then we have Kevin, who is a retired EOD Marine, amazing guy, Purple Heart, etc. And you know, his kids got into beekeeping. We met at a county beekeeping conference, and before you know it, he does all the shipping and merchandise for us. Wonderful family, wonderful people. So anytime you get something shipped from Hives for Heroes, it's from Kevin.
What are we doing?
It's unbelievable. We have some I don't know how to say, the heart of the people of the organization are those of servants' hearts. So just giving of time, talents, knowledge, and resources. And nobody is more or less important in the organization, because in reality, the most important thing in the organization is the hive, the newbie, and the mentor. Yeah. So everybody's ego gets thrown out the window, and we collaborate together and work together in order to make the organization better. So we're constantly getting feedback, asking for feedback. And when we travel all over the country, that's what we're looking for, is mentors and feedback. How can we be better every day?
And you know, I know, pardon me, how hard that is, because I had that role with our local club for several years, that matching mentors and the mentees, and that can be a challenge.
Yes.
Most often the challenge is there's more people wanting to be in the program than there's mentors to pair them with. And that is a real challenge. Do you take outside mentors Can anybody that's a beekeeper just contact Hives For Heroes and say, I really want to be a mentor for your group?
Yes, wonderful distinction. So the people that are served in the organization are veterans. The people that serve can be anybody. So we ask for 3 or more years of successful beekeeping experience. We kind of talked through it earlier, but why is that? Because first and second year beekeepers think they know something, but you just, one of those statistics that I heard at one of our meetings through Texas Friendly, Mr. Stan Gore, was 70% of first year beekeepers quit. Yeah. And something like 80% of the remainder in their second year quit. So that's a daunting statistic. It's not acceptable, I guess you could say, because we can all do this. We can all do this. We can all do it in our backyards. We can all do it anywhere. So that was a massive shift for us in the mentorship and encouraging those again to not get hives their first year. It's not because we don't want you to have fun. It's because we want you to stay having fun, right? And if you're losing your hive or spending too much money, you might think it's not a great hobby, but it's really not just a hobby, right? As we know on the sides that we're talking about, are the mental health aspects, the physical health aspects, those things kind of you can overcome a lot of trauma. So as you are working with the bees, you mentioned calmness earlier. Today, as a matter of fact, I was working with a colonel in the Army, and she was having a rough day, like a very rough day. And we went out into the apiary. We went with a couple of other people, and before you knew it, she's engaged. Everything else goes out the window. She's engaged. Here's what this looks like. And as we, as the mentors, myself and another person, Patrick, were working through this, she started chiming in, and she's a newbie, which is great. And she was training or teaching people that it was their first experience. So then you have 2 mentors, one of 5 years, one of 4 years, a newbie of 1 year, and 2 people that are first time. And all of a sudden she starts engaging. And so she's completely involved in the entire thing. And while we're buttoning things up, she just made the comment of, I had such a ridiculous day. It was stressful. I didn't feel like I really wanted to be here. And now I feel so calm. My day just got better. That's why we do the things that we do, and we can do that on a consistent level.
Well, and what an incredible story. Golly, I want pictures. That's what I want.
They're going to be out. They'll be on the reel on Instagram.
Perfect. And send me some to put in the magazine. I'd love to. And I think that any of us that have been beekeeping for any amount of time can concur with that feeling that it's truly, it is such a calming, and it's almost like the world goes away, and it gives us purpose for the bees. The bees need us, it's kind of I won't say a misnomer in my opinion, and not everyone's, that the bees do need us. Maybe I think they need us more than they really do, but I don't think so, that they need us to help with the feeding and splits and so forth and so on. So when it comes to doing that, I'm going to use that as another segue, splits. Are you making splits at split season, and then that's the hives that you're giving or paying forward? Are you teaching splits to the group? Because, that's part of our season twice a year.
Right. Another great question. That's why we've kind of built it into the organization of giving. So, but it's earned giving, right? You're with your mentor for an entire year, and then you are gifted in which you have earned. Right. So that there's this giving aspect from the mentor, but there's the earning aspect from the newbie. And that's super important in our society today, in our opinion, is that a lot of things are just there. It's like a handout. No, earn it. You can earn it. And you can do that, of course, through us and other organizations, of course, or on your own. But the splitting typically is in split season. Of course, that's going to be kind of that easy, natural transition from newbie to second year. So it's actually a really great start to a first year. When it comes to our hives, some of these are managed hives. So that's how we get some donations in dollars, is that we manage those hives. So they're going to keep them, they're going to grow their apiaries, etc. And for us, we do that as well. So the hives that we have here will either split and or have other people manage them whenever they need to. So yeah, natural splitting season, but we've actually built that into the organization.
Wonderful. And it's a good way to perpetuate the species too. Actually, I mean, it's just working with the program as it goes along.
Absolutely.
So,
and then those people have that experience already right in their first year of that split.
totally.
So you've taught them that, and now they can recognize that and they can do it for others as well.
So as they go along, so then hot hives kind of becomes a thing because that's just part of beekeeping. So requeening becomes part of it. So that's an introduction naturally done, or do you do that ahead of time or address that as it happens?
So as Steve, I do it one way. As Hives for Heroes, I would do it another way. And as Steve, I would probably crush a queen. That doesn't bother me, especially on hot hives that are around schools, around things that we know that can be dangerous for others because we can't see everything, and then reintroduce. But as an organization, we leave that to the mentors, because we want to make sure that those mentors have the influence over their newbies, that they can teach them the way that they would like to. Now there's thousands of sources. There's education sources everywhere. There's YouTube, there's books there, but your mentor, let them have that. Let them do what they do best instead of maybe feeling judged or shamed into certain things. Whether you're a natural beekeeper or not, whether you're, we make jokes all the time of, I've seen somebody use an apivar strip on the second frame. And, after that, I can't talk to them for the rest of my life. Right. And that happens oftentimes. And what we want to be is a collective, right? We want to honor and serve those that have served us as well. But at the same time, respect each other of we're not all going to do it the same way. That old adage of ask 10 beekeepers one question, you get 13 answers. That's true. Ask them again in 5 minutes. You'll get 14 answers. So it just is the culture of beekeeping. And I happen to love it, because it brings us together with something bigger, which is, in our case, the veteran side, right? The saving bees and saving vets typically allows people to have a collective conversation instead of going all the way into the details.
So good, so good. And I'm gonna add one to that adage. Ask 10 beekeepers, get 12 or 13 answers. Ask me again in 2 years, and I'll give you a completely different answer.
Yeah, and then sometimes you're wise enough to just not say anything at all.
So no, truer words have spoken. So I love that. I love that you're letting the mentors really be the driving force, because it allows not only the mentee to develop from that mentor, it stops the second guessing from other things, and allows them to develop what they know and continue to learn through resources. We hope that they're provided, like our TBS webinar and the magazine, where they can gather all this information and then land where they land.
Love what you just said. What we call it is utilizing beekeeping to create your own identity.
Isn't that awesome? That's so awesome. I could talk to you all day, totally. But what I've gotten out of this is that you got your finger on it. You have developed it in these past years and made it a very working, beneficial part of our world now. And we can't do without you now. So
we're excited to do it. And remember, there are a lot of people that are here. We have the staff that runs it on a volunteer basis. We have our board of advisors consisting of 10 people, a lot of them in which if you don't know them, please go look at our leadership page on hivesforheroes.com. I promise you will be impressed. And then if you go to our board of directors is tirelessly doing things as well. And then you have real proponents across the United States that I could name off names like crazy, but I'm going to miss one. And then somebody's going to get mad at me, but they know who they are.
They do.
And they are all over the place. They are wearing shirts, they are wearing hats, but most importantly, they're wearing the role of a mentor to somebody else, and really a steward of our people and a student of our environment. And we couldn't ask for any better people in the organization. That's
awesome. And TBS is proud to be part of that. And we will continue to do so in perpetuity. You can count on us. And Steve, I so appreciate you coming and visiting with me today. And we look forward to visiting soon. And next time you have good news, let me know, and I'll be the one that launches it for you.
Always in person too. Yeah, please, check us out on Instagram. Please give us a like, share. You never know who in your network that you would actually, who would resonate with. It could be somebody that you haven't seen in years to say, oh, you know what? I would love to do that. So we're on all social media platforms at Hives for Heroes. And then of course the website, hivesforheroes.com.
Perfect, Steve. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Have a great day.
You too.